Hello students, today we will see about the alcohol. This is an important topic in your new curriculum. You are familiar with alcohol. Everybody is familiar with the drink and it is commonly used everywhere. So let us see the pharmacological actions of alcohol and its therapeutic uses and adverse reactions. So why and what to learn on alcohol? We have to see the pharmacodynamic actions of alcohol because it is commonly used. That is the effects it produces on various organs, various systems in the body. And then the pharmacokinetics of alcohol, that is the timing of alcohol when it is administered, then its distribution, metabolism within the body, as well as the pathways involved in the metabolism of the alcohol. Now what is alcohol? Alcohol is a chemical term for a family of organic compounds containing hydroxyl group bounded to a saturated carbon group. So there are various alcohols available: methyl alcohol, ethyl alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. Concentrations are different. So alcohol refer to ethyl alcohol or ethanol. So today we will see about the ethyl alcohol. Now how is it manufactured? It is manufactured by fermentation of sugar. Sugar gets fermented by the yeast to alcohol and carbon dioxide. Yeast are the living microorganism and they die at concentration of alcohol greater than 10%. It is also obtained from starch, which is converted to maltose. It is commercially obtained from the molasses. Now how will you calculate the percentage of the alcohol? Specific gravity of the alcohol is 79, therefore 1 liter of alcohol weighs 790 gram. Percentage of alcohol can be calculated by weight or volume by volume. If we see by volume, 1 liter alcohol when it is added to 1 liter of water, it is equal to 50% of the volume. And if we see by weight, 1 liter of alcohol, that is 790 gram, is added to 790 gram of water, then it becomes 50% by weight. So from this you can see that 40% alcohol by weight is equivalent to 50% by volume. So in this way the percentage is calculated. Now the percentage of alcohol content in various beverages, alcohol beverages. Now the malted liquors, that is the obtained from fermentation of germinating cereals like the malts, mostly the barley, is the beer. So beer is obtained by fermentation of barley. Fermentation of barley gives rise to beer. Beer contains 3 to 6% of the alcohol. Then wine is obtained by fermentation of natural sugar, that is grapes, apples and other fruits. It contains around 15 to 20% of the alcohol. Fortified port wine contains 22% of the alcohol. Champagne contains 12 to 16% of the alcohol. Then other beverages like rum, whiskey, brandy and gin, they contain around 40 to 55% volume by volume. Standard content is 42.8% volume by volume or 37% weight by weight. And coming to the absorption of the alcohol, alcohol is rapidly absorbed from the small intestine and colon, but it is slowly absorbed from the stomach. First pass metabolism takes place in the stomach and in the liver. Maximum blood concentration is reached within 30 to 90 minutes. It can also be absorbed from the lung and from the skin. So maximum blood concentration can be seen within 30 minutes. Rapid absorption takes place from the small intestine. undergoes high first pass metabolism in the stomach and in the liver. Now coming to the distribution, it is uniformly distributed in the body through various tissues, crosses the blood-brain barrier and reaches the brain, also crosses the placental barrier, and fetus gets exposed to the alcohol. So it is widely distributed. High volume of distribution will be there. Elimination. It is eliminated by urinary excretion, even it is exhaled from the lungs, and it is metabolized. Now coming to the metabolism, ethyl alcohol or ethanol undergoes metabolism by the enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase. So this is the first step in the metabolism of ethanol. Alcohol dehydrogenase metabolizes ethanol to acetaldehyde. Then acetaldehyde is metabolized to the acetate by the enzyme acetaldehyde dehydrogenase. So acetaldehyde dehydrogenase metabolizes acetaldehyde to the acetate. So 90% of the alcohol gets metabolized. Also it is metabolized by the hepatic microsomal enzymes. It follows zero order kinetics. That means constant amount is metabolized per unit time. So the rate of metabolism is not affected by the blood concentration. A fixed amount is metabolized per unit time, and that's why it is prone for the toxicity. So as it follows zero order kinetics, person gets toxicated rapidly when he or she consumes large amount of alcohol, because only a fixed amount is metabolized or eliminated per unit time. Around 30 ml of the alcohol is metabolized in 3 hours. Concentration in the exhaled air is 0.05% of the blood concentration. So this breath concentration or the breath air concentration is measured, and it has an importance in medico legal cases. Now what can affect the elimination? Gender or sex. Women tend to eliminate faster than the men. Experienced drinkers eliminate faster. Elimination is individualized from person to person and over the course of the day. Timing is also important. Also other drug interactions will affect the elimination of the alcohol, other drugs taken by the individual. Now coming to the pharmacological actions of the alcohol. Alcohol has local actions. So local action as a counter irritant and rubefacient. It can be used as a counter irritant and rubefacient on the skin. It is highly irritant on the mucous membrane, so should not be applied on the mucous membrane or on the wounds or on the ulcers. If it is injected, it can lead to the pain, inflammation and necrosis. So it should not be injected. Then it has a astringent action, that is antiseptic action. This action is seen between 20 to 90%, 20 to 90 at the concentration of 20 to 90%. 100% is dehydrating. 100% is dehydrating, and there is no action on the spores. So maximum antiseptic action you can see. At the 70% of ethyl alcohol. So 70% ethyl alcohol is used as an antiseptic. On the skin before giving injections and surgical procedures. So ethyl alcohol is used as an antiseptic. 70% ethyl alcohol is used as an antiseptic on the skin before giving injection and before doing any surgical procedure. Antiseptic efficacy is seen between 20 to 90% concentration and it declines above 90%. 100% is dehydration. It causes dehydrating effect. So it evaporates at 100% concentration and there is no action on the spores. Only the vegetative forms are affected. It should not be used on the wounds, ulcers or the mucosa. It is highly irritant on the mucosa. It is not useful for disinfecting instruments. So it is used only for disinfecting the skin before intact skin, not on the wounds or the mucosa or on the ulcers. Skin should be intact. There should not be any cut on the skin or bruise, or skin should not be bruised. So the skin should be intact. So to disinfect the skin, 70% ethyl alcohol is used as an antiseptic before giving intramuscular injection or intravenous injection and before performing any surgical procedure on the skin, on the body. Concentration used is 70% ethyl alcohol. It should not be below 70% because it may decline, the efficacy will decline, and also above 90% the efficacy declines. Now coming to the other actions of the alcohol. So these were the local action we have seen. Coming to the other actions. So ethanol on the CNS has dose dependent CNS depression, causes dose dependent CNS depression. Initially it causes apparent stimulation and later on there is depression. Then on the gastrointestinal tract, it increases the appetite, increases gastric acid secretion, causes gastritis and aggravation of the peptic ulcer. There is also fall in the body temperature, evaporates and cools the skin, increases sweating. Local actions we have seen, it has an astringent and antiseptic action. On the cardiovascular system, causes cutaneous vasodilation and flushing, while large doses lead to myocardial depression and vasomotor center depression. That leads to hypotension and shock. Respiratory center is also depressed. Liver, fatty degeneration of the liver, alcoholic hepatitis can occur and liver cirrhosis can occur. Then action on the kidney, diuretic action is seen because of inhibition of the antidiuretic hormone. There is inhibition of the antidiuretic hormone release and hence there can be diuretic action. Now effects of alcohol consumption, that is acute effects of alcohol consumption. So let us see first the action on the CNS. These are the acute effects. So on the CNS, depressant effect is seen in a dose dependent manner. When the plasma concentration is around 30 to 100 mg per deciliter, you can see that there is anxiolytic action. Patient feels relief of anxiety, euphoria, that is a sense of well-being, and excitation will be there. Stimulation will be there. Hesitation will be lost. Restraint and caution will be lost. Impaired coordination, motor coordination will be there. Impaired motor coordination or psychomotor coordination will be there. Impairment of the psychomotor coordination. Mood and feelings are altered. Then as you increase above 100 mg per deciliter up to 150 mg per deciliter, mental clouding can be there. Ataxia, disorganization of the thought, and impairment of memory and drowsiness will be there. Then above 150 mg per deciliter to 200 mg per deciliter, patient becomes ataxic and drunkenness feeling is there. Slurring of speech will be there. Loss of judgment and inhibition. Loss of inhibition and loss of judgment. Then above 200 milligram per deciliter up to 300 milligram per deciliter, stupor will be there and unconsciousness will be there. So these are the dose dependent effects of the CNS depression depending on the plasma concentration. As the plasma concentration increases, you can see that from initial stimulation finally there can be depression and unconsciousness and coma can occur. Now continuing further the acute effects of alcohol consumptions on cardiovascular system, small doses may lead to cutaneous vasodilation, flushing. Medium doses can lead to tachycardia, palpitations and hypertension. Large doses, very large doses leads to vasodilation, generalized vasodilation will be there and vasomotor center depression will be there. So that can lead to hypotension and shock and death can occur. Then action on the respiratory system, initially there is stimulation by irritation of the pharyngeal and buccal mucosa, and later on at higher doses there will be depression, respiratory center depression. Then action on the blood, moderate drinking or mild to moderate drinking can increase high density lipoprotein, can increase the high density lipoprotein level, and this is a beneficial action, mild to moderate drinking. Then continuing further with the acute effects, action on the kidney, diuresis will be there because of inhibition of the release of antidiuretic hormone. Increased water ingestion will be there, relaxation of uterine muscles. Then at low doses adrenaline will be released and there can be sympathetic stimulation, tachycardia, palpitations, hyperglycemia, slightly hypertension will be there, while at very high doses there can be hypoglycemia. Then coming to the action on the GIT, gastrointestinal tract system, acute effects. Dilute alcohol at low doses will stimulate the gastrointestinal secretions. There can be increase in the gastrin secretion. Higher doses inhibit gastrointestinal secretions. Acute consumption in large doses can lead to gastritis, vomiting, reflux of the stomach contents into the esophagus, pylorospasm and Mallory-Weiss lesion. Now what is Mallory-Weiss lesion? It is a tear in the mucosal layer at the junction of the esophagus and the stomach. So tear in the mucosal layer at the junction of the esophagus and stomach can occur due to heavy consumption or severe large amount of alcohol. If it is consumed, it can lead to Mallory-Weiss lesion. Then coming to the chronic alcoholism. So just now we have seen the effects of acute alcohol consumption on various systems. Now let us see about the chronic alcoholism. What are the features? Now let us see what is craving. Craving is a strong need or compulsion to drink. Craving means strong need. Now the chronic alcoholics, they have a feeling of craving. Now what is this craving? Means they have a strong desire or compulsion to drink. So there can be a strong desire for drinking, strong need to drink or a compulsion to drink. Then loss of control. Now what is loss of control? The inability to limit one's drinking. So person may not be able to limit his or her drinking, will drink limitless or can go on drinking. Then tolerance. What is tolerance? The need to drink is greater in order to get the high. So patient may not feel high at small amount, so he or she will keep on drinking till he or she gets the high. Now what is this high? High means tolerance. Pharmacokinetic or cellular tolerance has developed, and so there is no high. High means pleasurable feeling or euphoric feeling, excitement what the person was getting before, that is now absent at lower doses, and so for to get that excitement and that euphoric feeling they will keep on drinking. That means tolerance develops to the euphoriant action of the alcohol. Then physical dependence occurs. Now what is physical dependence? Physical dependence means there is a physiological dependence, withdrawal symptoms are there. Means if the patient stops drinking, he or she will get withdrawal symptoms like nausea, sweating, shakiness, sleep impairment, hallucinations, delirium tremens and anxiety. So when the alcohol intake is suddenly stopped after a period of heavy drinking, such withdrawal symptoms can occur, and they are treated by long-acting benzodiazepines and naltrexone. Then neurological effects, polyneuritis can occur, pellagra can occur, or vitamin B deficiency, tremors, convulsions, loss of brain mass, Korsakoff psychosis, patient can develop psychotic symptoms, and Wernicke's encephalopathy. These are the neurological side effects or effects of chronic alcoholism. Then on the cardiovascular system, there can be hypertension, cardiomyopathy, congestive heart failure, arrhythmias and stroke. So these are also the effects of chronic alcoholism. Impotence and infertility can occur, sometimes gynecomastia and acute pancreatitis. Then gastritis due to repeated chronic alcohol. In chronic alcoholics, you can see that patient will complain of gastritis, and there can be peptic ulcer, anemia, intestinal damage, lack of absorption of important vitamins and amino acids can lead to the protein deficiency, vitamin deficiency, and there is no food intake, no enough calorie, and that can lead to the deficiency. Now, alcohol is not a total food, it lacks the food value. Then action on the liver. Liver cirrhosis is seen, scarring of the liver. Now usually it is fatal if drinking is not stopped. In liver cirrhosis there occurs fatty infiltration of the liver, oxidative stress and cellular necrosis occurs, damage to the hepatocytes and inflammation is there. Then glutathione depletion occurs and microsomal enzyme induction occurs. So there is damage to the hepatocytes and inflammation, and that can lead to is fatal if the drinking is not stopped. Now how will you treat this chronic alcoholism? Disulfiram is given, which is known as antabuse, internationally marketed as antabuse. Now this is a aldehyde enzyme inhibitor. Now when disulfiram is given in a patient who consumes alcohol, there is rise in the concentration of aldehyde in the blood and tissues, and there can be distressing aldehyde syndrome. The symptoms of aldehyde syndrome are flushing, burning sensation, throbbing headache, perspiration, dizziness, vomiting, visual disturbances, mental confusion, fainting and collapse. So it is used as a aversion technique in chronic alcoholics only, and this is used only in motivated person who wants to leave the alcohol. Technique is the person should abstain or stop taking alcohol overnight and start with 1 gram of disulfiram on day 1, followed by 0.75 gram next day and 0.5 gram next day, and so on. So effect will start within few hours of first dose and it will last for 2 weeks. So there is what is the mechanism? Disulfiram causes irreversible inhibition of the enzyme aldehyde dehydrogenase. So the enzyme is inhibited, that is the aldehyde dehydrogenase enzyme is inhibited, irreversible inhibition of the enzyme aldehyde dehydrogenase, and there is accumulation of acetaldehyde. So there can be distressing acetaldehyde syndrome. Distressing acetaldehyde syndrome, which will lead to these symptoms, distressing symptoms. And there is time required for the synthesis of the new enzyme, and hence person decides not to drink because of the distressing symptoms which occur after drinking due to accumulation of the acetaldehyde. So this drug is available as 250 milligram tablet. So here you can see that ethanol by the enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase is converted to the acetaldehyde, and acetaldehyde is converted to the acetic acid by the enzyme aldehyde dehydrogenase. So aldehyde dehydrogenase enzyme is blocked by the disulfiram, and hence when the drug is given and if the patient takes alcohol again, there will be accumulation of acetaldehyde, and that can lead to acetaldehyde syndrome in the form of flushing, headache, palpitation, dizziness and nausea, which will be distressing. So this acetaldehyde syndrome is distressing, and because of that the patient will refuse to take the ethanol, because there is a time required for the new enzyme to be synthesized. Aldehyde dehydrogenase will not be synthesized quickly, slowly it will get synthesized. Until that time, patient if takes alcohol, then he will get this acetaldehyde syndrome, which is very distressing to the patient. Now before going to the adverse effects, let us see about the other drugs. Now if the patient, now which are the other drugs which leads to the disulfiram like reactions? So these are the metronidazole, griseofulvin and cefoperazone. So cefoperazone, metronidazole and griseofulvin are also the other drugs which have disulfiram like action and produce similar reaction if the patient takes alcohol. So doctor should warn the patient that not to take alcohol when they are on the above mentioned drug, that is the metronidazole, griseofulvin and the cefoperazone. Then another important drug useful for the treatment of chronic alcoholism is, apart from disulfiram, naltrexone can be used. Naltrexone, which is a opioid antagonist, it reduces the craving for the alcohol and helps to maintain the abstinence. Then ondansetron can also be used. Topiramate can also be used. Now coming to the adverse effects of alcohol, it can lead to nausea, vomiting, hangover and traffic accidents. It is a CNS depressant. It causes depression of the inhibitory control will be lost. Vasodilation will be seen. Warm and flushed skin will be seen. Reddish color skin. Emotional outbursts can be there. Reduced memory and concentration. Poor judgment. Reduced reflexes and decreased sexual response. So all these are the adverse reactions to the alcohol. Then acute alcohol intoxication. Let us see what is acute alcohol intoxication. When large doses are consumed, therapeutic index of the alcohol is around 3.5. So when large doses are consumed, it can lead to the acute alcohol intoxication, and that can lead to the hypotension, hypoglycemia, respiratory depression, coma and death. So these are the symptoms of the acute alcoholic intoxication. Death can be due to respiratory depression and hypotension. That is, vasomotor center will be depressed and respiratory center will also be depressed, leading to the death. Death can also be because of the severe vomiting which can occur, and this inhaled vomit can go into the respiratory tract leading to aspiration pneumonia. Now what is the treatment? Gastric lavage should be done as early as possible. It is a medical emergency, and hence main aim of the therapy is to prevent severe respiratory depression and aspiration of the vomiters. Do maintain the airway breathing circulation, fluid and electrolyte balance. Gastric lavage should be done to remove the alcohol. Endotracheal intubation should be done. Airway should be maintained. Breathing should be maintained. Fluid and electrolyte balance should be maintained. Circulation should be maintained. If there is hypotension, you have to start with the electrolytes. Glucose should be given. Intravenous glucose to correct the hypoglycemia. Then thiamine is given in the glucose solution. 100 mg is added in 500 ml of glucose solution. And finally hemodialysis. Hemodialysis helps to hasten the recovery. Acute alcohol intoxication. Side effects of moderate drinking are the nausea, vomiting, flushing, hangover and traffic accident. So this is seen with moderate drinking. With mild drinking there are not much side effects, but with moderate drinking you can see hangover and traffic accidents can occur, vomiting can occur. Acute alcoholic intoxication, stupor, hypotension, gastritis, hypoglycemia, respiratory depression, collapse, coma and death. So just now we have seen the treatment of acute alcohol intoxication. It is a medical emergency. Maintain the airway, breathing, circulation, fluid and electrolyte balance. Do gastric lavage to remove the unabsorbed alcohol. IV glucose is given for hypoglycemia. Thiamine is added in the glucose, and you have to do hemodialysis to hasten the recovery. Now this slide shows about the alcohol withdrawal. Now in case of chronic alcoholics, if the alcohol is stopped suddenly, patient will get the withdrawal symptoms. So withdrawal syndrome is a sudden stoppage of alcohol in chronic alcoholics, which results in alcohol withdrawal syndrome. Now these are the various symptoms of the alcohol withdrawal syndrome. On the first day you can see anxiety, insomnia, tremors, palpitation, nausea, anorexia. Seizures can occur within 1 to 2 days. After 24 hours seizures can also be seen, convulsions. Then hallucinations can occur. Then from the third day to the 9th day you can see delirium tremens. Now delirium tremens means it is a condition in which patient will get palpitation, hypertension, fever can occur, tremors, delirium and agitation, restlessness. So this is seen from 2nd day or 3rd day till the 9th day. So alcohol withdrawal syndrome symptoms are mild to, the patient will have mild to moderate psychological symptoms like feeling of nervousness or jumpiness, anxiety, irritability, emotional volatility, rapid emotional changes, feeling of shakiness, fatigue will be there, depression will be there. So these are various symptoms of the psychological symptoms experienced by the chronic alcoholics on sudden alcohol withdrawal or sudden stoppage of the drinking. So the symptoms are anxiety, irritability, lethargy, shakiness, mood swings, nightmares, confusion, tremors, hallucinations and fever. So this slide shows the symptoms and the time of first onset of symptoms. Minor symptoms: day 1, day 0, anxiety, insomnia, gastrointestinal upset, headache, palpitations, anorexia, alcoholic hallucinosis, visual hallucination, auditory hallucination as well as tactile hallucinations. They resolve within 48 hours. Seizures can occur, generalized tonic-clonic seizures may occur as early as 2 hours after stopping alcohol. Delirium tremens seen from second day to third day, may start at second day or may start at third day, and maximum is seen at 5 days. Peak is seen at 5th day and it can last up to the 7 days. It can last up to the 7 days. So the symptoms of delirium tremens are agitation, hallucinations, disorientation, tachycardia, hypertension. So agitation, hallucinations, disorientation, palpitation, hypertension, fever and diaphoresis can occur. So these are the withdrawal symptoms. In stage 1, 0 to 2 days, you can see initial symptoms: headache, nausea, anxiety, agitation, hallucinations and even seizures can occur. Stage 2, delirium tremens, which is most serious symptoms of alcohol withdrawal, sometimes causing death if not treated. Then this stage 1 occurs between 0 to 2 days. Stage 2 occurs from 3rd day to 1st week. Maximum effect can be seen on the 5th day of delirium tremens. Then stage 3 occurs from 3 months to 1 year. This is post-acute withdrawal syndrome or PAWS, which is a constellation of symptoms like depression, fatigue and drug craving. Depression, fatigue and drug craving can occur. That is PAWS. So what is PAWS? Post-acute withdrawal syndrome, characterized by depression, fatigue and drug craving. Now what is the treatment? Initial treatment is benzodiazepines. Diazepam can be started or lorazepam can be started. 5 milligram IV. Diazepam can be given from 5 milligram to 20 milligram. Lorazepam 1 to 4 milligram at every 15 minutes. So benzodiazepines, diazepam or lorazepam or oxazepam or chlorodiazepoxide, midazolam. Then antipsychotics like haloperidol, butyrophenol for the psychotic symptoms. Diphenhydramine maleate can also be given. So how will you manage the alcohol withdrawal syndrome? Immediate management is by giving benzodiazepines like diazepam or chlorodiazepoxide. Delirium tremens should be treated by quick acting benzodiazepine because it is a severe condition. Lorazepam can be given, and psychotic symptoms should be treated by haloperidol or olanzapine. All the symptoms should be observed and recorded to determine the effectiveness of the treatment. So these are the effects of alcohol on the CNS: anxiolytic, euphoric, calming, sedating effect at initial doses. With increasing doses, cognitive impairment occurs, inhibitions and caution is decreased, judgment is impaired, impulsivity increases. At high doses, emotions are exaggerated and there can be outbursts and aggression. Pronounced motor and visual impairment will be there. Patient can become unconscious, coma and death can occur. Now this slide shows the blood alcohol percentage. So the shaded portion shows driving skills are affected. At which concentration the driving skills get affected? That is psychomotor impairment, possible criminal penalties. Then coming to the therapeutic uses of the alcohol. Now local uses. It can be used as an antiseptic. We have seen this previously. Antiseptic, 70% ethyl alcohol is used as an antiseptic and disinfectant. It can be used as a rubeficient and counter irritant in sprains and to prevent the bed sores also. It is used as an antiperspirant and as an aftershave. Alcohol sponges are used to reduce the body temperature in fever. It can be used as an appetite stimulant and as a carminative. 30 to 60 ml of 7 to 10% of alcohol. Then it can be used in the treatment of neuralgias like trigeminal neuralgias or severe cancer pain, where it is injected around the nerve and it leads to the destruction of the nerve trunk. So destruction of the nerve trunk occurs by injecting alcohol directly into the nerve trunk. It relieves the pain by destroying them. It can protect from cold. Alcohol may have a protective effect from heart attack because it increases HDL level. So mild lower concentration of alcohol can be used to increase the HDL level. Then it can be used in the treatment of the methanol poisoning. So we have already discussed the antiseptic use, that is 70% ethyl alcohol is used as an antiseptic to clean the skin or disinfect the skin before giving injections and to do the before surgeries. Efficacy should be maintained between at 70% because the efficacy decreases above 90%. It should not be used as an antiseptic and disinfectant on the open wounds or on the ulcers or on the mucosa or on the scrotum because it is highly irritant. It should not be used as an antiseptic or disinfectant for the instrument because it causes rusting of the instruments. It causes rusting of the instruments. Now coming to the action of ethanol as an antidote. So ethanol is used as an antidote in methanol poisoning. So in methanol poisoning you can see that ethanol can be given for the treatment of the methanol poisoning. Now what is methanol poisoning? It occurs when the methylated spirit is consumed or when liquor is adulterated with the methyl alcohol. So methanol poisoning is quite common when the methylated spirit is consumed by suicidal tendency or when the liquor is adulterated with methyl alcohol. So it has a toxicological importance. So it can be mixed in the alcoholic beverages and it can be consumed. Now methanol is a mild CNS depressant. Methanol is metabolized in the body by the enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase to the formaldehyde, and formaldehyde is metabolized to the formic acid by the enzyme aldehyde dehydrogenase. So we have seen these two enzymes in the metabolism of ethyl alcohol. So same enzymes play important role in the metabolism of methyl alcohol also. So the metabolites are formaldehyde and formic acid. Now formic acid is very toxic and it causes metabolic acidosis. Formic acid, if it gets accumulated in the body, it can lead to the acidosis, metabolic acidosis. It can lead to the retinal damage and cause blindness. It can also cause respiratory depression. So these are the hazards of the methyl alcohol poisoning or methanol poisoning. It can lead to the blindness and respiratory depression, and acidosis and death can occur. So formic acid is a toxic substance. Above 50 mg per deciliter it is toxic, and the lethal dose is 75 mg per deciliter up to 100 mg per deciliter. Even 15 ml can cause the blindness. So the dose is lethal dose is 75 to 100 ml of methyl alcohol. So in methanol poisoning you can see that the symptoms are nausea, vomiting, epigastric pain, headache, vertigo, dyspnea, bradycardia, acidosis, confusion, hypotension, convulsions, coma, and permanent retinal damage and death. Now the mechanism is, so why we are giving, so this metabolic acidosis is due to the formic acid, accumulation of the formic acid, which causes retinal damage and blindness. Now why we are giving ethyl alcohol? Ethyl alcohol is given, now how will you, ethyl alcohol is given because it saturates the enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase. It saturates the enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase and it diverts it towards the metabolism of the ethanol, so that no metabolites are formed of methanol. So no metabolism of methanol takes place and there is no formation of the formic acid and methanol is excreted as such. So this is the rationale of giving ethanol in treatment of methyl alcohol poisoning. So how will you treat the methyl alcohol poisoning? Keep the patient in a dark room. Maintain the airway, ventilation, breathing and circulation should be maintained well. Admit the patient in the ICU in a dark room. Gastric lavage should be done with sodium bicarbonate. IV sodium bicarbonate should be immediately started to correct the acidosis. Large doses of sodium bicarbonate may be required. Ethanol is given 10% in water, which is given via the nasogastric tube with a loading dose of 0.7 ml per kg followed by 15 ml per kg per hour by infusion. This treatment should be continued for several days and there is a excretion of the methanol. If there is hypokalemia, give potassium chloride. Then folinic acid or calcium leucovorin can also be given, which is given intravenously 50 mg IV every 6 hours to enhance the oxidation of the formic acid or metabolism of it, causes metabolism of the formic acid which is already formed, and that's why it will decrease the level of the formic acid. Another drug is fomepizole or 4-methylpyrazole, which inhibits the enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase. And so there is a decrease in there is no metabolism of the methanol and that can lead to the excretion of the methanol. Then finally hemodialysis can be done. So what is the rationale of giving ethanol? Ethanol competes with the methanol. Ethanol competes with the methanol for the metabolic enzymes and saturates them. Thus prevents formation of toxic metabolites, that is formaldehyde and formic acid. So ethanol will saturate both the metabolic enzyme and prevent the metabolism of the methanol. Thus prevents formation of the toxic metabolite, that is formaldehyde and formic acid. And methanol is excreted unchanged in the urine. So this is the rationale of giving ethanol in the treatment of the methanol poisoning, and rationale of using fomepizole and calcium leucovorin also. So in summary, we have seen what is alcohol. We have seen the long-term exposure of alcohol brings about adaptive changes in the neuronal system. Chronic alcoholism causes toxic effects on all the organs, especially the liver. We have seen the withdrawal syndrome in alcoholics, which are treated with the benzodiazepine and naltrexone. We have also seen treatment of the withdrawal syndrome, that is a disulfiram or the antabuse is a drug of choice which is used as a aversion technique in chronic alcoholics. And we have seen the therapeutic uses of ethanol and uses of ethanol as an antidote in methanol poisoning. So with this we finish today's class on alcohol. Thank you.